Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review for the movie The Tomorrow War on Amazon. And I thought this movie was okay. It is long at like almost 2 hours and 20 minutes, and you can definitely feel that bloat in the middle. But overall, I thought that the actors did a pretty competent job, good job. I didn't have any problems with really anybody's acting. It just mainly gets into the nuts and bolts of like the plot demanding what's going on, and of course, when you get time travel involved, it always just goes like it can really screw up what you're attempting to do because it's like, all right, okay, so we start off in December of 2022. We pretty much get the lowdown and dirty on Chris Pratt's character Dan, and that he was in the military, Green Beret, did tours in Iraq, and he then used the GI Bill to get into school. Pretty much got like his science information, like science degree and stuff like that, and is trying to get into like a research lab. The weird thing about this is I don't really mind that like he's a soldier and a scientist, but the thing is we're only ever shown his soldier stuff, and we're never really shown his science expertise. We are told his science expertise, but we're never really like shown him doing anything that would involve science. Like he, since he's been trying to get into like a research lab, he's been teaching at a teaching as a high school biology teacher, and when he's like talking to the people, he's like, "Yeah, we want someone with private experience." Like, how do you get that experience? I'm like, oh God, it because it's like a Christmas kind of time. Uh, his daughter wants him to watch the World Cup with him, and he gets pissed off at that, but he doesn't like ruin anybody's time. We also see that he's got a contentious relationship with his father because he like left him when he was young, and he's trying to send Christmas cards to his granddaughter, and of course his daughter pretty much cheers him up and everything. He's like, I'm supposed to be doing that for you. And then during the World Cup game, uh, shenanigans ensue, and a time portal opens up, and this chick comes out and says, "Hey, we're from like 30 years in the future, 2051. We're pretty much only got like 500,000 humans left, and we need to like draft you people into this war to kind of like help us." And I'm just thinking, okay, time travel wise, I understand that like you can do some like divergent stuff, but if you're on the same timeline and you're taking people out from earlier, you're just gonna kind of like fuck up and potentially like lessen your population even faster. Never mind the fact that it's like creating paradoxes or whatnot. So we see that like funnily enough, because the plot demands it, it's condensed into like the world leaders like, yeah, we believe this shit. Um, you kind of gotta need proof about that, but okay, like the world governments come together like that, and then at the end of the movie, when shit's like going like weird ass, they're like, woo, fuck all, yeah, motherfuckers, and just going like nutsy ass crazy. I'm like, why are you doing that? Plot demands, pretty much. Um, so they're pretty much trying to do what's going on. We see him go to his biology class. I'm like, all right, what do you guys want to talk about? And the thing is, it's really stupid. This kid's like, yeah, I want to talk about stuff. I was like, not about volcanoes. Why is that seeded? Because it's seeded because it's integral to the plot towards the end. It's like, all right, cool. But they're like, why are we doing this? How's it ever gonna kind of matter if we're gonna be pretty much fucking toasted in like 30 years? It's like, good point, good point. And then he of course gets called up for the draft thing, and the thing is, like, you would have a tour duty of like 7 days, but like only 30% of the people come back. We see Dan's wife pretty much leading a support group of those who have come back with like really fucking good prosthetics too. I'm like, I understand that like these future people probably like been doing stuff, but that would change like shit. I mean, if you have the ability to time travel, with me, bear with me here, wouldn't you kind of take that tech and be like, okay, why don't you fucking make this time traveling shit sooner and be able to make like, I don't know, fucking advanced ass motherfucking shit I could like fuck with these people. I don't know. That's just me. Because you're already kind of like fucking with the timeline, so why don't you fucking give them fucking thunder fucking hammers and shit? It's like, throw this bitch up, motherfucker. But it's just like. So they're trying to figure out what's going on with that. He pretty much gets screened by them and like, yeah, he's good. And we find out that like, oh yeah, he's probably been okay for this because he's going to die soon or whatnot. We find out that like people that have been sent back aren't born yet, so they don't create. I know it's like it's supposed to be showing that they're trying to avoid paradoxes, but introducing time travel in and of itself will have paradoxes and shit that occur, and that's what you gotta have to narratively kind of figure out how to stop yourself. But whatever. So he's gonna die at a certain point, and so they're like, yeah, send his ass in. They fucking they like fucking jack this kind of link on his arm. It's like, yeah, if you're not brought up, we're gonna like arrest you and your like closest people and shit like that. Okay. So it's like, and the thing is, they don't really do much with the plot, where it's just like, that's kind of a fascist, kind of weird ass fucking thing to go for. And then we see that his dad is a vet that's like completely distrustful of the government and running a thing to try and like take those things off. And we get the backstory that like he was in Nam and he was in a bad place, and he thought that the best kind of deal would be to leave the son and the mother and all that kind of stuff. And like, well, evidently he wasn't there when she died, and he's pissed off with him about that. And like, you know, fuck it, whatever. And he's gonna go, and he tells the kid, and Murray's like, all right, just, she's like sad and everything, but like he goes, and they're supposed to do this kind of training. That's where we get the info dump of like, hey, it's like two rafts, and they kind of like move along the time thing. It's like you don't care. You just want your plot to do whatever it wants. You can do whatever fucking justification you want. So it's like, okay, him and then this Charlie dude are like kind of science people. It's like, why the fuck would you send them to fight? Oh, they're supposed to be going in the research team to help them figure something out. It's like, alright. Question. Why don't you take your research people and send them into the past so that way they can go and figure out what's going on, and then send more people to kind of... Yes, I understand paradoxes and everything, but why didn't they send everybody in the past to figure out something and then just beat it from the past? Fuck, it just keeps... it keeps breaking down. However, they're supposed to, like, get into the research division and kind of, like, figure some stuff out. They're all different kind of people. They don't do simple basic training. They're just, like, given a gun that is the most ineffective, I might add, and... told to shoot the throat and the tummy. Never mind the fact that when they get into their first kind of thing, they just get kind of like ripped apart from it. It's like, alright, they're the white spikes, and it's like, alright, cool, whatever. Interesting creature design. Not much to them, and we don't learn a lot of shit about them. So they kind of get called up earlier, and the thing is, their drop-off point is different, but we have Dan, Charlie, and Redshirt Cancer Guy? He's gone on 3 tours already. He's got like a souvenir thing. I just call him Redshirt Cancer Guy because we learned that he has cancer and he will die in 6 months, and he wants to go out his way, and he's going to keep doing this shit. He's the only one that's bringing like a shotgun that would be like, fuck your shit. So, the thing is, the movie started out pretty much having people falling, and we see Dan fall into like a pool and stuff, and it's like, that wasn't what was supposed to happen. We see a lot of people bouncing and fucking falling off into like skyscrapers and shit in Miami, and they get in contact with the person that is in charge. It is a colonel, and it is actually Dan's daughter. Why am I bringing this up? Because it is telegraphed kind of all the way. It's like, kind of looks like her, hair kind of similar, gotta be his daughter. There's like no mystery. I'm not saying that it's a bad thing to have that happen. It's just, it's not that interesting, and you're like, that's probably his daughter. So she pretty much runs him through. They get into their scenarios of like having to deal with this. Dan's pretty much trying to make sure the people are alive. Redshirt Cancer Guy's like, you have to protect your friends, and just fucking let the other people just die. It's like, alright, whatever. They get in. We see that the research team is dead, as it would have turned into a combat search and rescue shit. And that for some reason, if they hang the bodies like that, that means they will be back. It's like, alright, that's convenient to have a chase sequence and a action set piece. Plot demands. So they get in, they're able to find the data and the samples that they need, but they have to go down, and of course we start getting in, see one dude die, see him trying to, like, kill him, and it's like, yeah, these guns are pretty fucking ineffective against these things. Then we see that Chris Pratt pretty much runs out of ammo, and then goes and pretty much uses an axe to kind of take this one thing out. And then, of course, Red Shirt Cancer Guy helps his ass out, and they're like, you gotta watch your ass, man. And somehow Chris Pratt has more bullets for his guns. All of his guns, because they get to a point they're trying to evacuate. But the thing is, they've got bombing run coming in, and they wouldn't get out. Okay, like, the timing is just like, no. So they send in fucking Humvees to get them out. I'm like, you ever see a fucking Humvee outrun a goddamn fighter jet? I'm not saying it can't happen, but that Humvee's gotta have some fucking rocket ass shit to be like, peace, motherfucker! And then, boom! No. They just get fucked up by the white spikes. They're trying to, like, book it on out. Some people are like, we'll stay behind and take these things out, blah, blah, blah. And then their strike gets in and pretty much would have killed them, but the plot demands that they are alive and have their ass hairs singed to their ball sacks. And then they wake up in the Dominican Republic. And I'm just like, whatever. Teleportation. Go! And he wakes up, sees Charlie like, yeah. They're sending me to this other place with the Red Shirt Cancer Guy. Just like, I'm sorry that your friends are dead. Just protect some people. Try and save some people, man. I understand. That's, of course, where you get the shit. Why he's doing all what he's doing. It's like, whatever. And he then hooks up with his, well, not hook, but, like, gets in contact with his daughter, too, like, there. It's like, yeah, I'm your daughter. We gotta go and do this other thing because we gotta get the female. It's like, just one female? I mean, these motherfuckers, it's like, oh, they don't do any technology. They just, fucking reproduce, eat, and, like, kill a lot of shit. It's like, alright, fine, whatever. So they figure out there's one, and she's being kind of cold and icy towards him. But it's like, okay, we're going to get that info drop at some point. So they're booking around kind of through. They find it in this fucking thing. And we get this thing of them pretty much wrangling it into a cage, which goes on for too long. It's just like, alright, fine, whatever. She's pretty much close enough. She fucking pushes the goddamn thing's head in and, well, not like to kill it, but like pushes it in the fucking crate ass thing. And they get it. It's like, fine, whatever. And of course, all the males in the area are like, we must protect the poontang. And just, no. And they're like coming out, and it's like, alright. And you're just seeing that they're able to like take him out with like 50 cows and shit like that. I'm like, why don't you have some kind of technology to make better bullets to fucking kill these things with? I mean, you're giving them fucking like, I mean, I understand it's hard to make like, I'm asking them to take a 50 cal round and pretty much make it suitable enough size for somebody to cart around in a gun that is able to fire automatically pretty fast and efficiently. I know that's a tall ask, but it's the fucking future, and if you're trying to fight fucking things like this, you'd think you'd fucking innovate enough to fucking kill them. But granted, if they had done that, they wouldn't be asking people in the past to come and pretty much throw themselves at these things. So, their helicopter kind of goes, so they pretty much ride out in a Humvee and they're able to get out. She's like, then we get the whole spiel of like, yeah, at some point, him and the mother split up, and then he like dies in an auto accident. Granted, it's supposedly more emotional there, but you kind of get the gist. It's like, alright, I'm here now, so let's kind of fix this. And the thing is, we have seen no way that he would take that kind of route because he loves his daughter and he loves his wife, and it's like, oh, just because his dad did it? And just because they were both in the military? Because he doesn't seem like a maladjusted asshole. His dad's out there just being like, I'm a crazy dude just fixing this whole plane for this rich old dude to do this weird ass shit. It's like, alright. They do the barest minimum to pretty much do that. But it's J.K. Simmons, And I like him as an actor. I'm just like, they don't really give him much to work with other than like be gruff, grumbly, and as Charlie calls him, conspiracy Santa Claus. So they're pretty much trying to figure out what's going on. They go to like this oil rig that's got the time travel stuff and everything, and then they do their science montage, which is just them getting shit from the female to make a toxin that will kill all of them. And then just like goes through all this. It's like, yeah, my 7 days are almost up, but I'm gonna keep doing this. If you send me back with the toxin, we'll mass produce it, come back, and I'll save you guys. And of course, horny boys of the White Spikes unite, and they want to go and get their lady friend. So they attack the base and pretty much rip the fucking thing to shreds. We get some action scenes of them like killing shit before his daughter pretty much gets wounded, and then pretty much dies before he gets jumped back with the toxin to do it. And of course, there's no jumping back, and he's trying to figure out how to save them. And I'm like, save his daughter. I'm like, I understand that fact, but depending upon how your time traveling rules work, if you change it in the past, that future doesn't happen. Now, granted, depending upon your interpretations, it could just be the many multiversal theory, which works out to the other stuff that I've been reviewing recently, and you would want to try and attempt to save it, but you'd have to try and figure out a way to get into that timeline, doorway-wise. But it's like, alright, fine, I'm going to stop these motherfuckers. So then, mind you, I'm kind of condensing this shit a lot, mainly because it was like bloated and really not that interesting. So they're trying to figure out, okay, the aliens popped up in Russia in like 2048, so they had to be there before then. So we essentially get the amalgamation that this is now alien with the Prometheus kind of shit and the Thing, but it's just like, alright, not as good. It's like, alright, you kind of fuse those together and you'd think it'd be kind of peanut butter and chocolate, but it's just like, I've seen this before. So Volcano Kid's like, oh yeah, because they analyzed the claw that Redshirt Cancer Man has, and it evidently had volcanic ash from China in it. So it's like, oh, okay, they had to be under this ice in Russia. They of course try and get the Secretary of Defense to send them to Russia. It's like, no, everybody's going crazy because the jump lake died. And we can't get the future. That means we all lost. So everybody's fucking freaking out and pretty much getting ready to destroy themselves at the point that there wouldn't be that future. Ha 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 ha. Insanity ensues because of plot demands. So he goes to his dad and be like, Dad, help me and my buddy. Because the Charlie buddy's like, I hid. And I'm like, I don't blame you. They don't have effective weaponry to like actually tackle these motherfuckers. Though I can understand the guilt. And he wants to do that to make up for it. So some of the rest of the people from the future who are now stuck in the past come with them, fly out. They gotta drive around, but they're able to kind of find the ship. They kind of blow themselves into it, go underneath, and it's like a ship. They're like, hey, these people don't look like the White Spikes. It's like, oh, it's like cargo. Oh, kind of like Prometheus and the black goo and everything that then leads to the aliens being made. And also kind of doing the Thing, where it was a thing frozen in the Arctic, and then it woke up and it was kind of pissed and it kind of fucked some shit up. So these things, because of global warming, they melts the caps. They're able to wake up and be like, fuck this shit. And of course, shit ensues. And ba-doop. So they're like, let's kind of stop this. So they're using the toxins, but of course, Big Bitch, the one, I'm almost, I wouldn't be surprised if like, yes, it's the same one from the future that, killed the daughter and made that giant kind of fuckboy pile, and it's the same one. And they're just kind of like, I'm like, they're going through this ship, and they're essentially going to the sacks that hold the fucking aliens, and just poking it with the toxins, and then they like get out and they're like opening anyway, and then they blow the ship up anyway. It's like, then why didn't, if you don't need to fuck with them, why didn't you just blow it up to begin with? I mean, if blowing it up was going to stop them, why the fuck didn't you blow it up in the beginning? I mean, take whatever readings or shit you've got, but I mean, if those things get out and get fucking, it wipes us out. I mean, I could probably analyze wreckage a lot better than like, hey, let's lead those motherfuckers in their tanks and Just hope they don't fucking get out. Okay. While I like analyze this advanced alien technology. You got fucking tech that is like coded for fucking time travel. I don't know how the world was like together, kumbaya, and like, let's send all these people to pretty much die in the future. And didn't be like, wait a minute, there's a lot of tech here that we could probably use to try and reverse engineer time travel and do a lot of other crazy shit. I don't know. But this, of course, gives Red Shirt Cancer Guy the death he wants. Also, effectively enough, killing the other people from the future to kind of close that shit off. But, of course, the big bitch got away. But Charlie did kill one of the other fucking alien things. So, Dan and his dad decided to go hunting on it. And I know I'm more partial to a redemption or, like, characters kind of, like, going through other things than just randomly killing them off. Now, granted, if it thematically makes sense, sure. But this is like, oh yeah, his dad's gonna, like, sacrifice himself. And it's like, I ain't fucking doing that. And they have their kind of protracted fight with the thing. I mean, granted, it should have been dead to rights a couple of times because he fucking, the dad shot it in the fucking throater region. It's like, alright. The thing is, it's already greenlit for a sequel, so I'm thinking that thing disappeared enough to fucking lay an egg, and it's like, whatever! Fuck that noise, just fucking try and have a story that's got a decent enough ending. And the thing is, they're talking about how it could smell blood from a mile away, which is kind of annoying because evidently every fucking creature that is a fucking predator can smell blood a fucking mile away. And I'm thinking, dude, your son's already wounded and already bleeding. You cutting your hand to be like, oh, I'm gonna take it out. And the thing is, they tried to like stab it with the toxin because you gotta use that for melty factor because it melts goop. Oh, he's like, let's die already. Fucking like slashing it with the claw thing puts the he evidently is good enough to have 2 vials of toxin, puts it in his mouth, it kind of splurts, and it's like, yay, we're done, they're dead until the sequel comes. I hope they fucking do something else and with not the fucking aliens. It's like, whatever, this threat was boring enough to me as it is, even though the design was nice and the CGI was decent. And Chris Pratt, of course, had to do the action movie. Die! He's like, you told us to die. Should have done that sooner. Then, of course, they get home. He, of course, is vowing not to do the dick move and, like, leave his family and actually introduces his dad to his daughter and everything. He's like, oh, cool, family together, yay! And ends. So, the plot was just nuts. I thought all the actors did a good job. I mean, they didn't. Most of their lines were not garbage, and most of the things they had to convey were not garbage, though it got nonsense. Like, there's a lot worse things that I've seen, both acting and content-wise. This is just kind of mediocre and just like, good God. It breaks apart under scrutiny, and it's like, if you need an action movie, you could do a lot worse. It's just pretty long. Not pretty long. It's just, I mean, granted, this fucking Schneider cuts like 4 hours. It's just, you gotta kind of commit to this. Though, granted, if you had it on in the background, you'd probably miss a lot of the bloated part. You pretty much just need the beginning and the end. And then you're just like, alright, cool, I'm good. And then you're alright. So, having it on in the background, not bad. I've seen worse movies. Though, granted, I've also seen better movies. Got violence and stuff in it, so if kids are afraid of this kind of stuff, definitely steer clear. But if you need something to pass the time, definitely go for it. If you're a fan of Chris Pratt, definitely go for it. It's a pretty decent one of his. I think it does a pretty good job of focusing on him and at least attempting to give him enough stuff, even though the plot kind of like takes it away, because there's a lot of, I would have been more intrigued to see him trying to do stuff with his actual science stuff and having that actually being delved into, and it's really kind of weird. Listen, I'm not against sci-fi and like seeing high concept stuff, but I almost would have rather seen the concept of like him as an army veteran and dealing with like his stuff with his father and his daughter and trying to kind of like figure out that stuff character wise than like all this shit that's like, oh god, this is getting in the way with it. So they pare that back, and we get kind of like half-baked concepts that we've already gotten from other kind of movies that were better. So, it's okay. So those are my opinions on the movie. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.